The first thing I did right after opening my eyes in this second chance at life was to plunge both my hands straight into a bucket of sulfuric acid, watching every single fingerprint on all 10 fingers dissolve away in that burning sizzle. Think about it, the kind of cold rage that drives you to do something so extreme right from the jump. In my past life, my adopted sister had murdered someone in cold blood, but she carefully planted my fingerprints all over that crime scene, turning me into the perfect scapegoat everyone loved to hate. And the worst part? My own biological parents didn't even try to find the truth. Instead, they stood in court and lied straight-faced for her. They fed the online fire, turning the whole internet into a raging mob calling me the heartless murderer. On the very day they marched me toward execution, those two actually whisked my sister off to a fancy island resort, toasting drinks and laughing like they had just escaped the biggest nightmare of their lives. But this time, the universe gave me another shot. My eyes snapped open exactly 1 hour before she was supposed to strike again. And I promised myself right there in that quiet moment that I would leave them with absolutely zero chance to cook up any fake evidence. Standing right in the middle of the city's busiest square, where the bitter winter wind cut through the air like invisible blades, under the shocked gasps and mocking stares from hundreds of bundled-up strangers, I started peeling off every layer of clothing one by one. First the thick down jacket that barely kept the cold out, then the sweaters and shirts underneath, right down to the thermal underwear clinging desperately to my skin, until I was dancing provocatively in nothing but the skimpiest lingerie, barely covering anything important. The freezing air bit into me hard, but my mind stayed locked on the plan. Countless phones and cameras pointed straight at me. My live stream shot past 1 million views in no time. Hey everyone, go ahead and smash that follow button right now. After this little show, I'm gonna treat you all to a real sulfuric acid hand wash that'll blow your minds wide open. The chat went absolutely wild, with people calling me crazy, saying there's a line you just don't cross, even when chasing clout. But none of that noise could pull me away. I kept dancing through the painful cold, my body shaking, yet my resolve burning hotter than the acid I had waiting. Security guards finally pushed their way through the crowd, way too late, after I had already finished my last song. They barked at me to get lost or they would drag me straight to the police station. I just laughed loud and clear, slapped my ID card right into one guy's hand. My name is Pearl. My father runs the Phoenix Group. My mother is the famous ballerina Priscilla. And my sister Zania is the campus beauty at Ping University. Go ahead, call the cops. Contact them all you want, I really don't mind. As I spoke, I reached down for the bottle of sulfuric acid sitting by my feet. What are you doing? The guard stammered, his voice cracking. Assault is a crime that can land you in jail for years. Seeing me twist the cap off, his face turned pale and words failed him completely. I ignored every single warning, poured the acid right onto the frozen ground, then pressed both palms flat into the sizzling pool. The sound filled the air like meat searing on a hot grill. The delicate skin burned away in seconds. That horrible charred smell rose up around us. Pain exploded through every nerve. Cold sweat soaked my whole body. My legs felt ready to give out. But a grim, fierce satisfaction pushed me back to my feet. The onlookers had backed away at least 3 meters, eyes wide with horror. I walked straight up to the nearest person whose phone was still live-streaming everything. I lifted my bloody, mangled hands for the whole world to see, gritting my teeth through the agony. Are you all seeing this crystal clear? After 5:30 on January 12th, I, Pearl, no longer have any fingerprints left at all. Just 3 hours later in my past life, my so-called sister Zania would corner a female classmate on that lonely rooftop and shove her right off the edge without mercy. She had already prepared special gloves etched with my prints and destroyed every nearby camera, while my parents gave her the perfect alibi and cooked up fake proof to pin the entire murder on me. They worked together like a twisted family machine to make me the ultimate scapegoat. But this time, I had stolen the spotlight in front of the entire world, and my hands were ruined beyond any repair. I remembered the fake sweet words Zania whispered when she visited me back then. Sis, I had no choice. Mom and Dad love me way too much. If I went to prison, it would break their hearts completely. So you have to take the fall for me. To give my sister that happy family reunion she always wanted, I had no choice but to send all three of them straight to prison this time. I quietly slipped on some gloves and waited with security at the station for the routine questions. Then suddenly, a rough hand yanked my hair hard, slamming me to the cold ground. Two sharp slaps cracked across my face. You worthless disgrace. Your little strip show is all over the internet now. You've shamed our entire family forever. Standing right there were Phoenix and Priscilla, my own biological parents. When I didn't answer right away, Phoenix got even angrier. He grabbed my chin roughly, demanding, "You can embarrass yourself all you want, but why did you have to drag your sister's name into that live stream?" Priscilla had tears shining in her eyes, looking at me with nothing but deep disappointment. How could I have given birth to someone like you? If Zania suffers even the smallest hardship because of this, I'll cut you out of my life without any warning. Two hot tears rolled down my cheeks anyway. My heart, which should have grown numb to their cruelty long ago, felt torn apart worse than the winter wind or the acid still burning on my palms. Before I turned 5, I really was their little princess. But the moment Zania got adopted into the family, the Phoenix couple never had a single day where their hearts were truly with me again. Just for fighting over the same doll once, Phoenix had me tied up and beaten so brutally, then locked away in a pitch-black basement for days. If that kind-hearted nanny hadn't snuck me food every single night, I probably would have died alone in that damp, dark place. From then on, my entire youth lived completely under Zania's shadow. The tiniest thing that displeased her meant confinement, harsh beatings, or starvation that sometimes landed me in the hospital. After the college entrance exam results came out, I had gotten into Kyoto University with flying colors, while Zania only made it into some regular program. Just when I thought freedom was finally within reach, Phoenix used all his connections to secretly swap our scores. Zania's victory celebration lasted 3 full days and nights. The whole city got invited to party. Meanwhile, my allowance got completely cut off, forcing me to work exhausting hours day and night just to survive. A sudden clear phone ring snapped me out of those painful memories. Looking down, Priscilla's screen showed Zania's incoming call. Her sour expression toward me disappeared instantly. She answered with a bright, beaming smile. "Sweetie, what's wrong?" Whatever Zania said on the other end made Priscilla's face shift through all kinds of emotions. Finally, she handed the phone to Phoenix and leaned close to me, forcing what she thought was a warm smile. "Pearl, dear. Your father and I were completely wrong earlier. To make it up to you, I've already booked us a nice room at a seaside hotel. Didn't you say it's been ages since we had a real meal together as a family? Is this finally happening?" In my past life, craving any scrap of their affection, I would have jumped into their car without a second thought, heading straight for that seaside spot, never guessing the car would stop right at the building where the girl had fallen, with a carefully prepared package of planted evidence waiting inside. Zania's special gift meant to frame me completely. This time, when she asked the question, I simply spat a mouthful of blood-tinged saliva right onto Priscilla's delicate face. "I'm not going later. I've got my stream to get back to." Priscilla let out a sharp scream, stood up pointing at me, ready to curse me out. But then she seemed to think better of it and held back. "Pearl, don't be childish now. Mom and Dad have both apologized, haven't we?" As she spoke, she tugged hard on Phoenix's sleeve, urging him to say something too. I spat another mouthful of blood straight onto Phoenix's face and curled my lips into a cold smirk. I said I'm not going. With every ounce of strength he had, Phoenix kicked me square in the chest, sending me flying backward a full meter. My back slammed hard against the marble pillar of the police station, and I felt like my spine might shatter into pieces. "Don't you dare disrespect me when I'm trying to be civil. Someone tie her up and throw her in the car." Phoenix wiped the blood from his face in pure fury and summoned 2 black-clad bodyguards. The police officer tried to step in and stop them. But Phoenix threatened him with his high connections. The 2 bodyguards brutally twisted my arms behind my back. grabbed me by the hair, and forced me into the car. Throw her in the trunk. This clueless idiot doesn't deserve to ride in the back seat. In that instant, terrifying memories from before flooded my mind. And I began struggling violently with everything I had. 3 years ago, Phoenix and Priscilla took Xenia on a fancy road trip. I had to beg and plead just to get them to let me come along. But they shoved me in the trunk anyway. And acted like I didn't even exist for 3 whole days and nights. My desperate will to survive made me break open the trunk and escape. But Xenia accused me of wrecking her beloved car. And convinced them to abandon me on the highway. To this day, the scars on the soles of my feet still remind me of that pain. Let go of me, I won't get in the trunk. Despite my frantic struggles, the men in black followed Phoenix's orders exactly. And dislocated both my arms with sharp cracks. Mom didn't want to treat you like this either. Priscilla shed a few crocodile tears. Then slammed the trunk shut without any hesitation. In the pitch-black darkness, tidal waves of fear wrapped around me like suffocating vines. I started gasping for air. My entire body trembling uncontrollably. I absolutely cannot fail here. If I lose my composure now, Xenia will definitely seize the chance to exploit it. Clenching my teeth hard, I bit down on the tip of my tongue. The metallic coppery taste spread fast through my mouth. Yet as if numb to the pain, I kept biting down over and over, forcing myself to stay calm through the raw agony. I don't know how much time had passed. But finally the car trunk got pried open. Blinding light pierced through my eyelids. What happened to you, little sister? Xenia stood there with arms crossed, looking down at me with pure disdain. The bodyguard threw me roughly to the ground. She stepped on my injured hand, slowly grinding her heel into the wounds. If you weren't useful to me right now, I wouldn't even waste my time on trash like you. Get her arms reattached and put on these clothes. At her command, the bodyguard ripped off what remained of my clothes and forced me into the exact same outfit Xenia had worn during the attack. Ignoring my desperate pleas to stay still, Xenia kicked me hard in the stomach. You should consider it an honor to serve me. She grabbed me by the collar, dragged me up all 128 steps as if I were nothing but garbage. By the end, my legs were covered in fresh bruises and scrapes. All right, you're staying right here. And you'd better behave yourself. On the rooftop, I sat exactly at the spot where Xenia had pushed her classmate Alia over the edge. She tossed her wavy hair back and laughed with unbridled audacity. These low lives are nothing but trouble. Even in death they cause me headaches. If it weren't for you taking the fall, this would have been quite the predicament. I looked up at her, a storm brewing deep in the depths of my eyes. Xenia, you'll live to regret this one day. She shot me a dismissive glance, yanked my hair hard to slam my head against the stone floor, while dialing the emergency number with her other hand. The moment the call connected, her voice instantly cracked with perfect sobs. Hello, police, help. My sister just killed someone. I sat handcuffed on the lobby bench with my hair completely disheveled. Just 10 minutes after being escorted out of the police car, a middle-aged woman lunged straight at me. Why did you hurt my daughter? What did she ever do to you? How could you be so cruel? Alia's mother, eyes bloodshot, crying her heart out in raw pain. The people around looked ready to tear me apart, their sharp nails scratching at my face. I'll make you pay in blood for this. Throughout the whole ordeal, Xenia and the other two stood by indifferently, never missing a chance to stir the pot with their comments. Pearl has always been like this since she was little. Never listens to a word we say. Look, she just pinched her sister's arm hard enough to leave a bruise. Priscilla rolled up Xenia's sleeve, revealing a coin-sized bruise on her fair skin. Eve lost count of how many wounds like this I have on my body. You're lying, it was Xenia who pushed that girl. I'm just your scapegoat. I cried out loudly, trying to make them hear. But Xenia acted as if she had been terribly wronged. Sis, how could you say that? Mom, Dad, and I all saw you commit murder with our own eyes. That's an indisputable fact. No one would listen to my reasoned arguments now. They only saw me as a cold-blooded murderer. Isn't that the stripper from the square? How did she end up a murderer? I always knew she was crazy. A man recognized me from the live stream. Furtively pulled out his phone, pointing the camera straight at me. The live stream viewership instantly surpassed 1 million again, with a flood of comments condemning me harshly. Everyone check the trending topics. The Phoenix Group just released a statement cutting all ties with Pearl. Oh my God. People who were bullied by Pearl in the past are now coming forward to expose her. And there's more. Her parents admitted on record that they witnessed her push Alia off the rooftop. A murderer like this deserves to die. Yes, Pearl should die. Outraged netizens quickly dug up my past. Launched relentless online attacks. Some even traveled from nearby just to throw rotten eggs and spit at me. The exact same sequence of events from my past life unfolded one by one right before my eyes. Is it truly impossible for me to alter this inevitable fate of death? No, absolutely not. I refuse to let myself be trapped in that dire situation again. I dug my fingertips deep into my already swollen palms. This was my last remaining card to play. I want to see the officer. In the interrogation room, several bright lights shone down on me. 2 officers sat across from me. Are you going to confess to the crime? I let out a slow breath. And said with firm conviction, I am not the murderer. One of the officers, Jang, met my gaze directly. All the evidence points to you. A sincere confession could still reduce your sentence. Officer, the key evidence. You've obtained the fingerprint on Alia's back. And you still claim you're not the killer. How would you know about such confidential evidence? The young officer sitting next to Inspector Jing immediately grew restless. Rising to his feet to confront me. I ignored his aggressive tone. Simply lowered my head. And slowly removed my gloves. But Officer Jang. My fingerprints had completely disappeared 3 hours ago. How could I possibly be the murderer? Seeing my completely mangled palms. Officer Jang shot up from his seat. The interrogation room's harsh fluorescent light made my bloodied hands look even more gruesome. The young officer gasped. And instinctively took half a step back. Even the seasoned Officer Jang's pupils abruptly contracted. His expression turning gravely solemn. What is this? How did you get those injuries on your hands? When did this happen? I lifted my head to meet his piercing gaze. My voice trembling with the thrill of an impending turnaround. At 5:30 this afternoon in Central Square. I personally used sulfuric acid to destroy my own fingerprints. With millions of online viewers as witnesses. You can immediately pull the live stream records and videos shot by bystanders. The acid corrosion has completely destroyed the dermal layer of my skin. My fingerprints will never be restored. The entire chain of logic collapsed completely as my key piece of evidence became invalid. The interrogation room fell into a deathly silence. The 2 officers stared at each other. Seeing the shock clear in one another's eyes. This discovery was enough to turn the entire case on its head. Quick, immediately verify the precise timeline alignment between the live broadcast from Central Square and the time of the incident. Notify the forensics team to reassess the fingerprint evidence. Officer Jang abruptly stood up. Rapidly issuing commands to the junior officer. Before sitting back down. His gaze fixed on me with complex emotions. Pearl, if what you're saying is true. That would mean. I picked up where he left off. My tone chillingly detached. It means my biological parents and that wonderful sister of mine committed perjury. The real murderer is hiding among them. Just then the interrogation room door was knocked. Another officer poked his head in with a strange expression. Captain Jang. Phoenix, Priscilla and Zania are still outside. Very agitated. They're insisting we press charges immediately and demanding severe punishment on behalf of the victim's family. Captain's eyes sharpened. Perfect timing. Escort them to separate interview rooms to wait. No one leaves without my authorization. He then turned to me. His tone softening slightly but still carrying an air of scrutiny. Pearl, we will investigate these claims immediately. However, until the truth comes to light, you remain a key suspect and must cooperate with our investigation. I nodded and raised my badly injured hands. Officer, I request to have a female officer present at all times and to have my physical condition documented and treated. Officer Zhang agreed without hesitation. And soon a policewoman came to my side. Meanwhile, the 3 members of the Phoenix family were escorted into separate rooms. Initially, Phoenix acted with the arrogance of a corporate tycoon, impatiently urging them to hurry. Officer, the facts are clear. The evidence is solid. And that ungrateful daughter has already confessed. What's the holdup? She's brought nothing but shame to the Phoenix family. Priscilla continued playing the part of the heartbroken mother, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. It's our failure as parents that led her to commit such a heinous act. We will do everything we can to compensate the victim's family. Zinnia was the most anxious, sensing a vague unease as she forced a smile to inquire. Officer, how is my sister? Is she emotionally unstable? Did she say something delusional? Don't believe her. She's just trying to buy time to avoid punishment. However, every officer who received them gave the same standard response. The case is still under further investigation. Please be patient and cooperate with the inquiry. As time ticked by, even the slow-reacting Priscilla began to sense that something was wrong. Officer, what exactly do you mean by this? We are witnesses, not suspects. You have no right to detain us. The guard officer just kept repeating. Please be patient and wait. The police worked with remarkable efficiency. Live footage from Central Square, countless user-recorded videos and eyewitness testimonies were quickly compiled with precise timestamps extracted. I had poured the sulfuric acid at 5:30 p.m., while the medical examiner preliminarily estimated Alia's time of death to be around 8:30 p.m. Meanwhile, a preliminary medical examination confirmed that my hands showed fresh severe chemical burns, with skin tissue extensively damaged, making it absolutely impossible to leave any usable fingerprints after the injury. The forensics team conducted a secondary in-depth analysis of my fingerprints collected from the crime scene. The results came back quickly. The fingerprint ridges were unusually clear and continuous, lacking the natural variations in pressure and skin texture distortion typical of direct contact, consistent with characteristics formed through film or mold transfer. All the pieces of evidence began to point toward a shocking conspiracy. Officer Zhang reviewed the preliminary summary report with a grim expression. After years in the field witnessing countless crimes, the case still sent a chill down his spine. Such vicious exploitation of familial bonds. Such masterful manipulation to frame one's own daughter and sister. He issued the order without hesitation. Focus the interrogation on Zinnia. Apply for a search warrant to examine the Phoenix family's residence and Zinnia's personal effects for potential materials and tools used in creating fingerprint molds. The interrogation room was now occupied by Zinnia, faced with the police's suddenly intense and oppressive questioning, along with the overwhelming evidence presented one after another. Her psychological defenses began to crumble. She had never imagined that her supposedly flawless frame-up plan would be exposed, let alone that I would destroy my own fingerprints beforehand, rendering all her efforts futile. I don't know what you're talking about. The fingerprints are Pearl's. My parents saw it. Zinnia's voice turned shrill, trying to mask her guilt with volume. Officer Zhang slammed the table and snapped sharply. Zinnia Pearl's fingerprints were permanently damaged before the incident. The prints left at the scene were transferred using a mold. Are you still not telling the truth? Forging fingerprints to frame someone is a serious crime. And on top of that, a charge of intentional homicide. Do you realize the consequences? I didn't kill anyone. I didn't push her. Zinnia's psychological defenses finally collapsed. She screamed, the words bursting out of her. She lost her footing and fell on her own. The moment the words left her mouth, she realized she'd slipped up, her face turning as pale as a sheet. "Oh, didn't you claim you saw Pearl push her? How did it suddenly become her just falling?" Officer Zhang seized on the inconsistency and pressed her further. "Were you at the scene when it happened? What exactly transpired between you and the deceased?" Under immense pressure and psychological terror, Zinnia's mental state completely shattered. Sobbing uncontrollably, she began confessing in incoherent fragments. "I had an argument with Alia. She insulted me. I pushed her in a fit of rage. But I never meant to kill her. I don't know how she fell. The fingerprints, they were prepared in advance. My mom helped me with them. She said if anything went wrong, just let Pearl take the blame. After all, she's a top student and bound to succeed someday. If I ruin my future, all my parents' efforts would be wasted." Yes, my parents knew everything. They were the ones who taught me this. Told me to just insist it was Pearl and they'd back me up. Yeah, go ahead and arrest them instead. They made me do it. I'm innocent. You can't arrest me. The voice recorder captured every word clearly. Outside the door, the police officers exchanged uneasy glances, overcome with disgust and anger. Almost simultaneously, the search of the Phoenix family's premises yielded major discoveries. Tools Zinnia used to forge fingerprints but hadn't yet disposed of. Chat logs documenting Priscilla and Phoenix's plot to frame me. And the hit pieces Phoenix commissioned from the company. When confronted with this evidence separately, Phoenix and Priscilla reacted in strikingly similar ways. They first flat out denied everything, then tried to shift blame onto each other, before ultimately crumbling under the weight of irrefutable evidence and the police's intense psychological pressure. Collapsing to the ground one after another, Phoenix attempted to protect both his company and family's reputation by pinning all the blame on Priscilla. "That wretched woman is behind all of this. I had no idea. I was just blinded by my love for my daughter and deceived by her." Priscilla broke down sobbing, rambling incoherently about her favoritism towards Zinnia and her resentment toward me. Zinnia lost her birth parents at such a young age. How heartbreaking. Pearl has everything. What's the harm in letting her sister have a little more? Who knew things would turn out like this? How could I just stand by and watch Zinnia's life be ruined? Every word of their excuses was captured on camera, leaving an utterly disgraceful record. Meanwhile, the internet was already in an uproar. Initially, the entire online community was vilifying me. But as time went on, complete videos of the acid handwashing incident posted by eyewitnesses with precise timestamps started going viral. A growing number of netizens began to raise doubts. The timeline doesn't add up. She destroyed her fingerprints before the crime even happened. The hand is too severely damaged. There's no way any fingerprints could have survived. Chilling thought. Could this be a case of taking the fall for someone? The Phoenix family's reaction was way too quick. Is that how you treat your own daughter? It feels more like they're dealing with an enemy. That adopted daughter Zinnia goes to Kyoto University. There were videos of her bullying people on the school forum before, but they were all taken down thanks to her family's money and influence. Public opinion began to quietly shift. When fragments of internal police information were leaked, especially clips of Zinnia breaking down and her parents blaming each other, which someone anonymously posted online, the entire internet was thrown into an uproar. Hashtags like Pearl Injustice, Zinnia Murder, Evil Parents, and Fingerprint Scandal instantly blew up on trending searches. The netizens who had been the most vocal in their criticism now felt manipulated, and their fury has redoubled, crashing down like a tsunami upon the Phoenix Group and the Phoenix family. What a family of monsters treating their own daughter like this. Zinnia, come out and pay with your life. The Phoenix Group is a heartless corporation. Just shut it down already. Apologized to Pearl. The Phoenix Group's stock plummeted at market open, with partners terminating contracts one after another. The dual blow of public opinion and economic pressure left it teetering on the brink in an instant. As I was carefully escorted out of the interrogation room by a policewoman, on my way to the hospital for hand treatment, I ran into Phoenix, Priscilla and Xenia being separately escorted through the police station lobby. Xenia completely lost it, screaming at the sight of me and lunging forward aggressively, only to be firmly restrained by the policewoman. "You devil. You absolute monster. You set me up and you'll die a wretched death." I walked over and patted her cheek gently, just as she used to do to me. "But now you're the only one who's going to die." Priscilla looked at me as if I were her savior, and knelt at my feet. "Pearl, please save your sister. She's had a hard enough life since childhood, losing both parents. And now she's facing prison. Go beg Alia's parents. Get on your knees, kowtow. Do whatever they ask even if it means your death. Just save Xenia." "All right." The onlookers were so infuriated by her shameless words that they itched to slap her. But I just smiled faintly. My dear compassionate mother. So fond of raising the child of my father's mistress. Are you Xenia? After all, is Phoenix and that outside woman's daughter? Huh. I only uncovered the secret after I died when I was in spirit form. Phoenix panicked upon hearing this. "Xenia is not my illegitimate daughter. Don't listen to this wretched creature's nonsense." Knowing her death was imminent, Xenia stopped caring about anything. "That's right. I am father's illegitimate daughter. You foolish woman raised another woman's child for 20 years, while mistreating your own biological daughter. How pathetic." With a blood-curdling scream, Priscilla lunged at Phoenix, and the two tumbled into a vicious brawl, all while she viciously yanked Xenia's hair and slammed her head against the floor. Once the fight died down, I leaned in close to Xenia and the others, and whispered into their ears, "Do you know why I destroyed my own fingerprints in advance? Because I am a vengeful spirit reborn with the grudges of 2 lifetimes. Here to claim the wretched lives of all 3 of you." Phoenix's head snapped up, his eyes wide with terror as he stared at me as if truly seeing his daughter for the first time. Priscilla collapsed to the ground, drained of all strength, sobbing uncontrollably. Xenia continued to scream hysterical curses. Without another glance in their direction, I walked step by step, resolutely toward the police station exit, accompanied by the female officer. Outside reporters who had rushed to the scene were packed shoulder to shoulder, their camera flashes lighting up the area like daylight. But this time the lenses were no longer focused on a murderer or a mad woman. They were trained on a victim who had been framed and had defiantly cleared her name. The morning sun pierced through the clouds, casting light upon my pale yet serene face. My vengeance has only just begun. The law will judge their crimes, and the court of public opinion along with the judgment of fate will not be absent. Xenia was sentenced to severe punishment for multiple charges including intentional assault, fabricating and using false evidence and false accusation. Phoenix and Priscilla were also imprisoned for crimes such as perjury, harboring criminals, aiding in the destruction or fabrication of evidence, and false accusation. Additionally, Phoenix faces further charges including commercial fraud and market manipulation. The Phoenix Group declared bankruptcy and faded into history. Though my methods were extreme, they were justified by circumstance and caused no significant public harm. With widespread public sympathy, I received a lenient sentence, a mere slap on the wrist compared to the grave crimes committed by the 3 members of the Phoenix family. With my own hands in a frenzied dance, I tore apart the intricate web they had woven, finally stepping into the new life that was rightfully mine. In their past life they basked in glory. In this one they'll rot behind bars. It just goes to show what goes around comes around. And karma always delivers in the days to come. I will live as brilliantly and brightly as my name Pearl. And never again be overshadowed by gloom. Coco Motion Tales. So after hearing this whole wild story of betrayal, family lies, and that desperate acid moment in the square, be honest with me. If your own blood turned on you like that, framing you for murder while smiling to your face, would you destroy your own fingerprints in front of the entire world just to break their trap? Or is there a line even revenge should never cross? Drop your raw thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what you would do in Pearl's shoes, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep emotional tales that hit straight to the heart.